things comes in threes. So what would be an omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscience of all things that would suggest purpose means it must have a value, a meaning, a consideration. To extraordinary leaderines who suggest with the gender balance in here, you sisters have got a significant amount of software going on between your ears. By the way, I'm a self-confessed mummy's boy, and did so from a very young age, understanding, gentlemen, if you were test tube or otherwise brought into the world, the uterus is something you become very much considered and aware of. With ultimate understanding that ultimately it's about balance. And all things equal, diverse, and inclusive suggests that we live in a very tolerant yet intolerant world. I fundamentally believe that sport, art, and cultural activities are fundamental human rights of every single human being, irrespective of what you look like, where you come from, what you believe in, whom you love and whom you don't. Sport and the arts is a vaccine and antidote in a world where we're far too inconsiderate of each other's mutual existence. I've had an incredible journey from the streets to the stadiums, occasionally to the rostrums, where medals were won, then back to the streets to the rostrums, and then with purpose of something that I commit to because it's the right thing to do. And that vision, that mission, your objectives have to be underpinned by values. Purpose is a very important value. But so we understand, like most things, it comes from a challenge. And I believe every challenge is an opportunity. Every negative is a positive waiting to happen. So the fact that I'm a product of Violet Adriana Thompson, who's still 93, still the only person who can beat me, and I am the most dangerous individual you'll ever meet in any stereotypical consideration. Labels and stereotypes are there for a reason, but isn't it nice disproving them? I'm eternally grateful to the National Front, or else I would not be here today. If it had not been for their cultural ignorance, I would not have had to learn to defend myself. I joined karate to simply defend myself. I was a bit of an entrepreneur as well at school. I sold my secret patties because my mother was a widow. I lost my father at 7. Another bad thing that happened. Life will knock you down. But what happens when you take that knee and then you get back up? Purpose. 99% of that fitness and purpose is between your ears. It's interesting they say we only use 10% of our brain capacity. What happens to the other 90%? I'm always someone curious, porous curiosity. Always challenging, always questioning. All things artificial neurointelligence are emotional neurointelligence. And we are in one of the intellectually powerful institutions that determines what happens in the world. Being aware of your environment. We are a product of each other's environment. What I discovered in karate, and it discovered me like a good book, and it became a curriculum for life. I could set my own goals. I could test myself. I was in a social setting of many others from different walks of life, different nationalities, but all looking for self-discovery, self-achievement, and then testing oneself. And we all need to be tested. The world is an interactive world. The world changes with a number of devices in a matter of seconds, let alone days. I look at major events and I look at performers now, that little chip at the back of their shirt that tells you how many meters you've run, the intensity of the effort. There's no hiding place anymore. Well, it was for me back then, but it was hard work. It was determination. It was overcoming. There is no better honour than leading a Great Britain team. I led a Great Britain team over 10 years, but I'm a product of the 20th century. It's really interesting saying that. It then starts to depict age, which is numbers. We all accept that age is numbers. Please do not look at me as I'm from the planet Zon, because I am very much autodidactic, and I'm shaped by the people I interact with. Now you create the stuff that allows people to interact with a bit of remote purpose. We're going to start looking at how we connect the world and strike the balance between what's going on between the ears and what the chips. And we can have chips that we walk around, but not chips that I used to nick my mum's 6 minutes ago. But the chips that are informing so much. At the Davos gathering recently, the young people who gathered, by the way, they're the purpose of the potential. Young people are potential. But as I've said, winning, as the founder of the modern Olympic movement, Michel Coubertin, said, it's not about the winning, it is about the taking part. And we've seen how causes have been addressed. You know, once you win your medals, you emerge up the class ladder. I met one of 8 prime ministers I've served in public life over 30 years, and she was the late Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. And she said sport was for the unclean. But I'd won medals for Britain, and I said, no, it isn't. There were riots on the streets. She said, well, young man, if you want to affect change, don't moan, and if you complain, have the solution. I got an appointment letter, and 30 years later I've been telling the truth to power. But what does that allow you to do? I believe major games in their bidding, hosting and legacy are a significant opportunity of bringing people together, bringing agendas together, bringing interests together. But there's a time where you can get complacent. There's a time where everything's looking good. The one thing I can guarantee you, you will not succeed if you want to push boundaries, affect change, and impact the world. For I learned nothing from winning. It can be a very self-indulgent place and you get lost in your own importance. But I was always kept very humble. As far as I was concerned, it was an examination. It was a test. And in losing, you went back and you assessed and you reviewed. And you looked to the why, the how, the what, the who, your relationships, absolutely critical when you're embarking on significant change. In Manchester, a city of change, suffragette movement, first computer, Rolls-Royce, the anti-apartheid movement was founded. A city of revolution and change. Change is not something to be feared. It needs to be embraced, especially the extraordinary years we've experienced, of which we all will have found some purpose. Because we're all reconnecting and re-engaging with everything we want to do. We want to improve on it. And work-life balance has become the same. I'm amazed on the virtual calls at the backdrops. Some amazing backdrops of how our lives have become so much more personal. But that purpose of why we do what we do and embarking on great challenges is it's an adventure. By then I'd gone through my competitive career. I'd always wanted to go to Olympic Games. The 88 Olympic Games was my target. I picked up an injury 2 weeks before the trials, and that was it. But I'd already started transition. An inner city review group looking at sport in inner cities, where I had been. In 1993, Manchester were bidding for the 2000 Olympics. A 14-year-old schoolboy is shot dead on the streets of Moss. His name was Benji Stanley. I say that name too because it still hurts now. True purpose means you're always reminded when you take that all-important step of change. The great thing about me engaging with the software between your ears is you only have to Google and you'll see what, from tragedy, has become a global movement of sport for develop for peace. I found sportsmen and women that represented a similar journey of disaffection and disadvantage. Because that was the motivating ingredient of someone telling you you can't. There is nothing that says you cannot. Sportsmen and women became a voice. When John Carlos and Tommy Smith at the 68 Olympics, when that fist went up, captivated me. What did that mean on achieving the pinnacle of their sporting ambition? That they would have a cause. The Cleveland gathering in 68 with the late great Muhammad Ali. So he wasn't going to go to war because there were people that he felt had a similarity of struggle. It's been an incredible journey, but it doesn't end, because real purpose means you will always continue to fight, because every day is a fight, every day is a competition, but it can be embraced. I hated losing. We all have that in common, but we learn from it. It motivates us. We get up, we breathe in, we breathe out. That's your biggest achievement, by the way. Sometimes take the small things as a purpose. Some people shadow breathe in life. Do you know that? Have you ever taken a deep inhalation? You don't giddy up with an actual high. It really does lift the membranes that operate all this grey matter. You know, dolphins, with 20% of their brain matter, have the most advanced sonar. What about that 90%? I'm hoping artificial intelligence might do something. It might just take that to new levels. I don't much fancy being a hologram, but might do that, extend to life. As you get to my age, you start thinking about it. I've got that another 25 years. So I've already started to think, what does that look like? Make it count. Post-apartheid South Africa, the late President Mandela, I want you to use sport and the arts to avoid a race war. Karate had been used to mobilise the townships and the Afrikaners. And I walked into karate suits with swastikas. Well, how the hell am I going to do this? I kept it fair, objective, purposeful, truthful, valuing everybody. We all bleed red. It's all I've ever learned. Not about the blood type, but we all bleed red. It's a commonality that should remind us. The ultimate combat sport. Combative chess. Everything that I've shared shows a remarkable journey, but post-apartheid South Africa, the race war was averted because of that sporting and artistic practice in the Native Americans. By the way, the Youth Charter's life's work. One life was lost. I couldn't tell you how many lives have been lost. It becomes the reason you continue to do what you do. You strive for excellence. The indomitable human spirit becomes the fuel of your motivation. How many of you watched Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games? Good grief. And it was interactive, we had all the different platforms. Well, I became the deputy chair of Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. Something that's not normally afforded to those who like to push, challenge, and tell the truth to power. If not for George Floyd, I would not have been considered. You turn the negative into a positive. You turn every challenge into an opportunity. This is footage I wanted to just click. See if I get this right, I will truly achieve.
I've never seen Birmingham like this, and I'm just as excited as everybody else. That was outstanding lifting from Emily.
That was a wonderful, what a result. It's high-ho Wolverhampton.
This was the performance of a lifetime.
This was a love letter to the city. These games have been bold, buzzing, and absolutely brilliant.
Commonwealth that many times. It's worth noting, more medals awarded to women than men than any other major games. The women's 100 metres featured last, where it is normally the men's 100 metres that featured. I knew what sleepless nights were about, because I wasn't about gold medals and my team and my focus and my purpose. I had 60,000 staff, part-time volunteers, service providers, a lot of digital IT. I learned more about what these screens would do to try and bring that games experience to the rest of the Commonwealth and the world, because it was the first major games that would have been delivered post-COVID. There were no deaths, there were no serious injuries, very few applications for asylum. It's amazing how your priorities transition. Meeting former competitors of a post-war 20th century age and watching the 21st century of hope and opportunity suggests that every challenge is an opportunity just waiting to happen. Those games were delivered on budget, facilities on spec, in a 4-year cycle that would normally take 7 years to deliver a games. 2 years of it virtual. 14,000 volunteers who had all been in lockdown went to the after party. Best shindig, ran down you have ever experienced. All giving you stories of inspiration. You've all got stories. You've all got challenges. You will all achieve them individually and collectively. Just Google the Youth Charter. We've got a call to action. We'll never give up the fight. Just so we is the system. Gentlemen, the sisters are the natural thinkers. Whatever the world is and whatever the identity we have, you've got a very unique blend and balance here that clearly has become the strength of your business purpose and your ambitions going forward. I must pay tribute. There's another gold medal in here. Find her, work it out, and then you'll understand that without the women turning up at the 82 World Championships, I wouldn't be here. She became my wife as well. And she became the co-director of the Youth Charter. And she's the only person that can beat me. Just so we're clear, at 60, I decided to go for Tokyo. The fight for the streets needed to be fought. And in COVID, I announced my return to world-class competition. I can confirm I was only denied because of my age. I consider that worse than the colour of my skin, or my social background, or any other barriers that I've had in life. But I still danced, and I still used that setback to add to my purpose and my journey. Vision without action is but a dream. Action without vision is merely passing time. Vision with action can change the world. Be the world, change the world, make it happen, have a purpose. Thank you.